Market update here on the 6th. Just been going over some charts and got my updated counts on everything. On SPY here, I think that the most accurate count, I've been going back and forth on this, but I really looked at it pretty hard today. And I think this makes the most sense. So I'll show you my reasoning here. So we got this move right here. You can use your parallel line here. And you can see that obviously we don't come outside of it. But if we clone it, put it down the middle, it doesn't quite stop at the middle line, but it comes outside of it and immediately goes back down here. So I think these waves are connected. I think this should be ABC. This is pretty much a 5-wave move, kind of a diagonal, but pretty much ABC right here. And then we get our correction. We correct about a little bit past the 0.5 fib. And this is a corrective move, so I have that labeled as X. And you can see I have my parallel line for this right here. And you put at the top of this. This is kind of the channel that I think we're going to be working with and where we're at. And I did a video a few weeks ago, and it's pretty much the same thing. I think we completed a first wave here. So, gone over this many times, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, like that. And right into supply. And I have all my demand and supply marked here. And we retraced. We had a pretty big move from the low here. But let's see how far we retraced. So pretty big retracement all the way to 413.87. Came back a little bit at the end of the day. Most likely, let's look at this move. Although I don't really like the structure of this, it's most likely just going to end up being something like this. And honestly, I don't know how far it's going to go back, but I have my parallel lines drawn right here, and I think it might be a pretty quick correction. So if this is the bottom of wave A, then the 1.61 fib is at 395. That's where I've been calling for a while, and that's showing here by the 19th. So we'll see if that actually plays out. 395 would be my target. And then if we zoom back out, I guess we're already zoomed out enough. This would just end up being wave 1. This would end up being wave 2. And then we can go ahead and show what's going to happen from there. And I have pretty quick wave 3 up here to 441. That'll probably be, could be pretty quickly, to be honest. So wave 3 here. And then we'd be looking for fourth wave back down to 430. And then ultimately it looks like the wave 5 would probably be pretty short because my target is the 1.61 fib of this move right here. So that is actually, oh, actually that's 460. Wow. Okay. So that's 460 actually. So as you can see, I have a pretty high projection for the next probably 2, 3, 4 months, something like that. 460, and that's actually, look at that, that's the 0.5 fib. So I have that basically by mid-August. Oh, it's 5. So 460, you can see where it intersects the parallel line here on August 15th. But, again, that is just overall wave B. So we got A, B, and we still have this to go. Looks like the people who run the market want to have the maximum return on a short opportunity, and they're getting a maximum return on their long entry. They don't want anything short because that allows retail, who are usually nearsighted, to make a lot of money too. Instead, these moves right here kill the shorts, and then when it eventually happens, everyone on the long side doesn't think that we're going to be going down that far, and then we just keep on going down and then go down, and we get to the bottom. So basically, I'm expecting next week and the rest of May up to May OPEX to be pretty red, but I'm looking at that as pretty much the last opportunity for shorts to get out before they get their head ripped off, basically. So there you go. Overall, and there's actually a gap fill, I think, up here too. Let me see. Maybe not. I'm not 100% sure. I know on QQQ there is. But, so yeah, basically look for 395, 1, 2, and then get long. Once it gets parallel line right here, you can just use this as a guide as well. Look forward to hit down here, and then look for a third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave up here. And this is definitely higher than I previously had it, but I think it makes a lot of sense now. So that is SPY. Moving on to QQQ. Same thing. I changed my my count a little bit. And I'll show you Microsoft. I changed my count on Microsoft as well. This makes a lot of sense to me because this move right here is an A wave, B wave, and we get an impulsive move for a C wave. That equals W. We get a quick move down. That's X. And similar to SPY, let me get rid of all these. Similar to SPY, I think this is going to like 350. And we have a gap fill here at 345. We have another gap fill at 356. And a huge supply zone. So my previous thoughts on 327 are still valid, but that's just for short term before we go down. So WX, and then what is all this right here? I think that there's a very good chance that this is just wave 1 right here. Let me see the 1.61 fib though, because this might be different than SPY. Yeah, this is probably a first wave. Same thing as SPY. So WX, and then this has got to be wave 1 right here. My previous thoughts were that was going to be the top, but the short-term top. But I think it is still the top, even though it's gone past here. I think this is likely an expanded flat. So I don't think that this is it because we've only retraced. We only retraced to the 0.23 fib. If that's it, then that means this whole thing is ABC. So again, I think that we're about to get a sharp move down, and maybe it happens into that debt ceiling that's coming up. That's a pretty bearish catalyst. So we got A, B, C, like that is what I see. We're looking for a minimum pullback of 303. There's a gap fill at 308. And then the 0.61 fib is at 298. And then we also have this demand zone at 297. So maybe, thing is, the parallel lines are coming up here. So maybe it will only go back to 303 because look at this, it intersects right here on June 5th. That'd be about a month pullback, something like that. And I see this as overall right here, 5-wave move, pullback B, C wave higher. So A, B, C lower, gap fill, second wave. I'm going to go ahead and mark second wave right around 303. Although that is not a demand zone, so maybe it will come outside the parallel line and get to 297. But I'm looking for 303 short term. And we'll see. If it ends up going higher from here, then I'll have to change my count. But you can see that the third wave would take us to 343. Whoops. So 343, and that would almost fill the gap. So let's say that comes maybe like in July sometime, maybe right around in here. That'd be a crazy move higher. So maybe there's like debt ceiling worries, and then it's all resolved and we go higher. I don't know. So third wave, fourth wave comes back outside here, 334. This video is going to be a little bit longer because I'm going over the long-term prospects as well. And then I think my target was 350 or somewhere around there. Let's see though. So I got 360 actually to 368. And that would fill both gaps. And look at that. Same thing as SPY. Mid-August. And you can see parallel lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what the 1.61 fib of this is though, because it normally can't go past that. And that's at 350. So maybe this will be a little bit shorter. Maybe this fifth wave will be a little bit shorter, like that. So that's kind of my outline of the next 3 or 4 months. More upside, but short term we should see a pullback, and then I would get long. And I mean, this goes along. So that's QQQ, SPY, and this goes along with stocks such as Tesla, which I pointed out has basically one more move down, where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down here to gap fill at 146. So Tesla goes right with this count, and then it also goes to this count too, where if we come down here to 146, let's say by June 1st we're at 146. That's May. So that's pretty good parallel line right there. Put at the top here. And where is August? So look at that. Gap fill. A little bit higher. My target's actually 284, but that would be in September. So maybe we just gap fill. We don't go the full 1.61 fib. Go to 262. 146 minus 102, 44 points higher than this, is 257. And that's right around the gap fill as well. So Tesla is perfect representation of QQQ and SPY as well. And then Apple is kind of a different scenario. But if you watch my video from a couple days ago, I have it going to 177 short term. Only $4 from here, and then it should correct with the overall market, and then I guess it's going to go higher too, but it's just not really clear. Let's see if this parallel line. So we already broke through this parallel line. That's kind of a clue, and this pretty much hits this. So maybe this is the A wave right here. So ABC, X, ABC. So this would be the overall A wave. And we're working on the B wave. So 195, that would be the 1.23 fib. So maybe Apple does something like gap fill, maybe here soon. That would be about a 10% correction. That seems a little bit too much, maybe. But I would expect something like maybe down, up here to 177 and then pull back to maybe only 164 or 157 and then probably go higher. It looks like it's setting up for maybe an expanded flat, but I could be wrong. This one's kind of a wild card. I don't really care about the long term. I just want to look at the short term, and I think it should top out. And if it doesn't top out there, which it should, then 188 is as far as it can go, or else it's invalidated. So look for 177 on Apple, and we'll see what happens. But overall, the structure is going to end up being probably something like this. And maybe it doesn't come all the way down here. Maybe it only stops right here on the pullback when QQQ finally corrects. Or maybe it comes all the way down here. I'm not 100% sure on that either. But we know it's probably going to go higher. Microsoft is the one that I changed. And the reason I changed it is because it wasn't making any sense with the overall market. I still think it's going higher, but this count makes more sense to me. We get a corrective move, then we get a X wave, then we get a 5-wave move. So I label that as Y, overall W, pullback X, and then we get a 1, 2, 3, 4 extended 5th wave, in which, this is kind of crazy, we basically nailed the 1.61 fib again on Friday. And I zoomed in, it looks like it's 5 waves completed. So we'll see if that actually holds up. And it is in that supply zone still. And so overall, I think Microsoft is going to be in the same boat. Quick pullback, maybe just to the 0.23 fib here at 290. Potentially goes down here and gap fills at 282. That's possible too. And overall, it's going to look like this. So we still haven't gotten the second X wave, the bigger X wave. So it's hard for me to project with a parallel line on this one. But I think I can draw it, but let's just say on June 2nd, we gap fill. Around there, that's good enough. And you can ignore, it goes through the price, doesn't matter. And so this would be kind of the way that I would be looking at it. So gap fill, and then probably going to be some kind of move higher. It's probably going to go to, let's see, if we go to 282, bottom was at 219. It's probably going to go to like 370. And I don't know, there's some gaps up there, I think. I know there's one at 322, and this is actually an all-time high. And so if that's the case, then again, it's going to end up being an expanded flat. I don't think it's going to go that much lower than the bottom that it past had. Probably it's going to come down here a little bit past it, or maybe even fall short of it. And then it can start a 5-wave move higher. So the reason that I changed my count is something that wasn't making sense, and that was I had it labeled like this. Wave 1, wave 2, and then I had this whole thing as the beginning of wave 3, which technically I guess it could be still, but I didn't like the fact that if this is wave 1 and this is wave 2, I like to see it get outside the parallel lines here. And this does not do that. I mean, it's getting close, but from what I see, it's already getting close to finishing the wave, and it hasn't even came close to the outside of the parallel line. So if we get a move higher on Monday and we break this parallel line and go up here to weekly supply, somehow it gets to 320 to 330, then I'll think about changing back to the other count. But until then, I'm going to keep this count, and we'll see if I'm right and we fall down here to gap fill. So it could be still what I originally had, but we don't know yet. And right now I'm using my parallel lines, has not gotten outside of there. So I'm sticking with this count. So that's Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, SPY, QQQ. I haven't really gone over Amazon or any of these other ones, but we can look at Amazon real quick. I think Amazon probably, I think this might be wrong. I think that Amazon is probably in a, whoops. I think it's correcting just like everything else, and it's probably in a wave 1 or W wave. This came back, and this could be wave 2 right here, and this could be the start of wave 3. But if I draw a parallel line here, if it's WXY, then I think we're looking at something like maybe like 133, something like that, maximum. But I'm not very confident in Amazon right now, and so I think that also it could end up just being this, like a pullback maybe, and then we just get one more move higher like that. Ends up being, but then again, that doesn't make sense because this is a 5-wave move. So it's probably going to be a 5-wave move as well. And I just don't see this as a impulsive move though. I would have to go over this on lower time frames. I'm not going to do that right now. So there is still a possibility that this goes down. Goes all the way down here. There's a gap fill right here at 86. Still possible if we get a correction, but that's a pretty big correction though. Yeah, this is probably going to end up being wave 1. I'll have to go on lower time frames though and just look and make sure. If that's wave 1, then you'd be looking for wave 3 to go to 125, pullback 133. So I would not be buying Amazon right now. I would wait for it to finish this move down. It's probably in a B wave right now. I'd look for a C wave down here to 96 to 100 bucks. And then that would be a buy right there, and then I would just ride it up. I might even buy it. So I would make sure you have your cash ready for the next month or so, because we're probably going to get a pullback, and then that you're going to want to buy those dips. Google, it looks to me like it could be a diagonal. These all look like 5-wave moves to me. And so I would look for probably a pullback here to at least, I would say at least a 0.38 fib, maybe around 100. But if it's a second wave, which it's probably not, I would look for about 100. I would say 100 is good. We have a demand zone there. And then it's probably going to end up being the same thing, WXY. Like that. And I would be looking for it to get all the way up to probably at least 126. Something like that, but into August. Yeah, like that. So that's just a hold for me. I actually have some shares. If it falls off, I'm completely fine with it because I think it's going to go higher to 126. Bitcoin. Based on everything I've said, I think that the most likely scenario for Bitcoin is that it basically is gonna come down here with the overall market and then go higher. So it's gonna end up being the same structure, something like this. I think it's going to at least fall to, could come down here to the demand zone. Maybe it doesn't make it there, but remains to be seen. The 1.61 fib is a little bit past the 0.38 fib here at 24,000. Regardless, I'm just dollar cost averaging right now because I know it's got another wave higher, and I'm just looking for that pullback where I can actually go bigger, and then I'll get the final move higher. We should see, if this is the top right here, then we should see at least, probably see like at least 40 grand. Maybe it gets stuck in this supply zone. And then the dollar, there isn't really that much to go over with the dollar. It's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. I don't need to go over the VIX. IWM, still sitting here. I'm waiting for it to finish this fifth wave. It would have to go down about 8%. And then I'm looking for, just like everything else, a move higher, maybe all the way to 200. So basically, I'm projecting like a rip your face off rally over the next couple of months, maybe a 2 to 3 week correction starting this week. And we'll see. I might have to change my count if it keeps on going up. But maybe Monday it goes up a little bit and then we start selling off. But I think we're almost there. So I'll leave it at that. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. Do you agree with my accounts or not? And make sure you like the video so I can get more exposure, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Anyway, that's it. Have a good weekend. See you on Monday.